Hey, it's Friedo. Thank you for tuning in to this quick 15-minute episode of Your Podcasters. Before we get started, I just want to introduce the guest that we're going to have today. Kathy D. Carter is a client of mine. She came in yesterday. This is Memorial Day weekend, 2023. And Kathy came in to do her regular standard recording session that we do every month. And we got to talking about podcasts. And I just thought I'd share this with you and encourage you to go ahead and start your own podcast if that's what you've been thinking about. The first 4 or 5 minutes of this episode, we talk about Kathy and her business. But then after that, we talk about why podcasting is important to her and her success with which she does. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoy. All right, this episode of Your Podcasters, we're going to actually talk to a client that I've worked with, gosh, Kathy, 3 years now? Maybe longer?
Maybe longer.
Yeah. Kathy D. Carter is the Soulfinder, spiritual healer, and has a podcast called The Soulfinder. And it's a podcast that, if I'm doing my job properly, gets released every week. And I got to tell you, Kathy, we talk about it on your podcast a lot. I was very skeptical when we started out, but once again, showing the power of podcasts
right
over the course of years, and it really only took the course of weeks, a few episodes, I gradually became non-skeptical and kind of a little bit freaked out.
A little, maybe.
So what do you do, first of all? How would you describe? Because I can give a description, but no, you do it.
What do? I help people overcome whatever is troubling them in their life. And it can go from the extreme of it being past generational lineage problems. It can be repressed traumas. It can be a physical condition that is holding them back from having the energy, the stamina, the enthusiasm for life that they want. I really don't know how to describe what I do.
Well, let me say this. I don't necessarily do this too often. I love my clients. I love working with you. And I'm going to give you an endorsement that's going to sound weird maybe. But if you're listening to this, I think you really ought to go to kathydcarter.com, read about her. The website's full of information. You can be skeptical, but give her a chance. I got to tell you, I look forward to every recording session we do. I get something out of it. And anyone listening right now, I'm going to promise you, you're going to get something out of it if even if you're skeptical, to have an open mind. I keep talking about skeptics because that's the way I was.
Right.
There's plenty of people that are not skeptical.
Right.
That come to you, and I'm sure that you don't even have to take that much time earning their trust.
Well, it tends to be that I always make people question me,
okay,
if you will.
Uh-huh.
Because just like when you and I, when we talk, it's I love people that question me because my job is to help them open their minds more. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love this podcast and why I love working with you on it, because you are more of a skeptic, you say. And it is so enticing for people to listen because you bring up what ordinary people think, and then I can counter it with what I believe. And that way they can find what their true balance is in all of it.
Let me just point out, Kathy just called me ordinary, and I'm so extraordinary.
That's
no,
just true.
Kidding. But something has happened to you multiple times that is really cool, where you've gotten recognition from listeners.
Oh, yes. And the latest one, I want to give a shout out to Tammy from California. She told me about, she didn't even really know I had a podcast, but she found it, and it really helped her through some dark times in her life and gave her hope. And I want to say that Friedo doesn't believe me, but she also said, "Who is that guy that's with you, that Friedo? He is so fantastic."
I think you're just saying that.
No, I'm not. She said that. And she said, "He really helps your podcast stay alive." And I said, "Yes, it's excellent because, like you said, we've worked together for years now, and I couldn't find a better podcaster if I wanted to, a podcast company, Friedo Nation. You should go to them if you're needing a podcast because it's been a joy. I mean, it's wonderful."
And that's something that I think is just really cool. It was cool about being on the radio. It's really cool. And there's probably a much more professional word than cool about having a podcast because you don't know this lady from California. You got another one, I think, from Arizona. Maybe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you don't know these people. Mm-hmm. And they're just the ones that are taking the time to reach out to you.
Right.
There's no telling how many people that you've impacted the same exact way that aren't going to take the time to reach out to you. Or, quite honestly, and you won't believe this, but it's true, think, well, she's not going to read my email or she's not going to read my message because she's a podcast star. And she must be getting thousands of emails. And I'm not joking around. That's the way people
think.
I've fallen into that. I don't want to call it a trap, but I watch and I listen mostly to podcasts from experts in the podcast industry. And if I'm listening to them, I consider them knowledgeable enough that I can learn from them. So they're experts in my mind, whether they really are or not. Honestly, I don't know.
Right.
And I also assume that if I'm listening, there's tens of thousands of other people listening also, which may or may not be true also.
Right.
So I guarantee you that there's people out there that are listening to you, and you get good download numbers.
I know you keep telling me that.
You do.
Thank you.
But there are people that think that you probably have 10 or 20 times the download numbers you have. Because if they're listening, they know other people are. Mm-hmm. And when you get recognition from even one person that's listening, that right there.
Well, it meant a lot.
How many times have you sent? Do you have a favorite TV show? Do you have a favorite author? Do you have a favorite mentor that you've never met? How many times do you send an email or a message to someone you follow either on TV or...
Oh. Yeah, not often. I think all the time. I think, I should give them a review because reviews is what helps our businesses. And if I don't give reviews, how can I expect people to give me reviews?
Mm-hmm. But it takes time to do that. And
it does.
And you'll forget about it or you'll assume, well, everyone else is doing that. He doesn't need my review. Mm-hmm. But to specifically send someone...
a thank you note.
Message. That says a lot.
It does. It means it was meaningful. And there's
many more people that are impacted that just aren't going to send a message. Mm-hmm. They'll just be impacted, and that's fine.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But you need to, as a podcaster, you need to understand that just because all of your listeners aren't reaching out to you doesn't mean you're not having an impact. You are having an impact. And the thing that I run into quite a bit, and and you've helped me through this, whether you know it or not, I've had the issue, and I think everyone does, of who cares what I have to say?
Oh.
You know, who am I to think
yes.
that you're going to take the time to listen to my words? Mm-hmm. Well, people are listening.
Well, and that is a hard thing to get used to. But I remember the first time that we started this, and I said, will you talk with me on my podcast? And you agreed, and I was so relieved because I knew that it was going to be interesting and that we could keep topics going and that you could take me saying no, or I could take you disagreeing with me, and we would still be able to keep going. And that is so special, and it means so much to me. I really do appreciate that.
That's one of the reasons I enjoy you coming in, because I do enjoy doing these episodes with you, and it's something I need to remind myself, and I'm glad that you tell me about the people that do write in, because it is something that even though I know, and even though I tell my clients all the time that you do have a story, whether you think you do or not, you do have expertise, whether you think you do or not. And quite, honestly, a lot of the people I work with, this isn't a shot at them at all, they don't necessarily have more knowledge than another person in their industry. A plumber that's working with me may not have any more knowledge than a plumber that's not working with me or that doesn't have a podcast, but is going to get credit for having the knowledge is the plumber that's willing to come on and show his knowledge.
Right.
Show his expertise and basically give it away for free. That's the one that's going to get recognized. That's the one that is going to be able to prove that you should trust him before you ever meet him or her.
Right. Right.
And that's one of the things about these podcasts is you get to establish yourself as the expert. And I'm not saying people that are doing them aren't experts, but it could be a situation where everyone has the knowledge.
Right.
It's just getting credit for the knowledge.
Right. And being willing to share it. And if you only help that one person, you've done your job.
Yeah.
And that's why podcasts are so great, is for that one person that you do save.
And you're in it to help.
Right.
Other people are in it to generate business, generate revenue. But one of the things that I'm fortunate of and about is that the people I work with mainly are either helping people. I think they're all helping people.
Right.
But even the people that are trying to promote their business and generate revenue, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
At all.
No.
And in reality, what they're trying to do, generate revenue may be the ultimate goal.
Right.
But the way they do that is establishing, you can trust me.
Right.
Establishing, I'm passionate about what I do. Establishing, I know what I'm talking about. And that's all going to lead. It's not them coming on saying, I want to make money, do business with me. It's, hey, let me walk you through this process. And in the process of me walking you through it, I'm going to show you and I'm going to earn your business.
Right. And it's a perfect way, because isn't that what you want as clients, right?
Yes.
That's the kind to bring in. And I mean, you're so easy to work with, and it's very professional, but it's laid back. I mean, for me, it's perfect.
Okay, laid back professional. I like
Yes.
that.
It's nice.
Now you come in mostly on the weekends, so I'm not
Spur of the moment.
I'm not going to pretend that I dress in a 3-piece suit all the time. But whenever you see me, I'm in my scrubs because the way Kathy and I work together, it's one of the reasons that we work well together. Is Kathy will text me in the morning on a Saturday, or I'll text her and say, "Hey, you want to record today?" Very last minute, and that's another thing. Not to toot my own horn, but I think makes it easy to work with me because I love working, first of all.
Right, you do.
I absolutely love what I do. And I'm not saying kids or a wife are a bad thing, but I don't have either.
Right.
So I can work 24/7.
Right. I understand.
And given the choice, this weekend that we're recording this is Memorial Day weekend 2023. I hate holiday weekends. I cannot stand holiday weekends. As a matter of fact, Kathy, and I may still do this, I was thinking about putting out like a special for Monday, where that's the holiday.
Right.
Saying, look, I got nothing on my calendar. Everyone who comes in today gets half price. Just because I want to work. I don't want to sit around and not work. So this whole process is a blast for me. And
Yeah, me too. It's fun working with you.
And I love everyone I work with. I may love working with you. Maybe you may be at that higher level a little bit.
Thank you.
And I'm willing to say that because that's not a shot at anyone else. It's just because we're in the same wavelengths. Maybe as far as how cooperative we are with each other.
Right.
So
and we help each other.
I do really appreciate you. If I had good handwriting, I would send you a thank you note, but you wouldn't be able to read it anyway. So
use your chat GPT.
This is my audio thank you note to Kathy D. Carter, the Soulfinder, for being such such a great client. It's my audio thank you note.
Well, I'll give you an audio thank you note for being a great business podcast company, and I don't think any of you out there could find anyone better. You should try him out.
Thank you so much.